WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Riley Livingston. Earlier this afternoon, a pedestrian was struck by a train near Blair Street in Tupelo. The Tupelo Communications Director, Alicia Faulkner, tells us the victim is in stable condition. The incident closed parts of the crosstown area, including Green Street, Church Street, and Blair Street for almost 2 hours. The Tupelo Police Department was on scene directing traffic. The Burlington Northern Railroad investigators are gathering more information. The Traceway retirement community of Tupelo is currently under a restricted visitation notice. The facility on West Main is in the middle of a voluntary flu virus quarantine. Traceway is taking this action because several residents have developed a stomach virus, and they are asking that all visitors be restricted unless it is absolutely necessary. The company says they are working hard to keep things sanitized and safe for the residents and employees. The situation will be reevaluated daily, and the facility may adjust its visitation schedules. Today was the third annual Women's March. The first one was held the weekend after President Trump's inauguration. Despite divisions and controversy, there were pink hats and protest signs from coast to coast today, and even overseas. Nicole Killian has more from Washington.
There were marches from Los Angeles to New York, where actor Bryan Cranston cheered on participants, and Washington, where Rachel Wood brought her 2 daughters.
We need to participate in our democracy, and we feel like change is due.
This year, the crowds are smaller than the inaugural Women's March in 2017, as the organization faces a number of challenges, including charges of anti-Semitism.
To Jewish women, there is a place at the table for you.
Women's March co-president Tamika Mallory has been at the center of recent controversy following an Instagram post where she called Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, who's known for anti-Semitic rhetoric, the greatest of all time. Several prominent sponsors dropped out of the rally. Mallory confronted the issue head on.
I love all people, and no one will define for me who I am.
Joan Kuriansky is Jewish and said while some may feel alienated, she wasn't deterred.
We've all been hurt. We've all heard hurtful things, but what we have to do is maintain a commitment to work together.
But others stayed away, holding rival rallies.
This is not about trying to bash anyone. It's about saying that there is an alternative.
Co-chair Bob Bland says she's not concerned their message is being overshadowed.
We have been very clear that we unequivocally condemn anti-Semitism, bigotry, transphobia, misogyny, and any hateful statements from anyone. And there should be no confusion about that.
With a clear goal to move forward. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Washington.
Funeral services for the Birmingham police supervisor who was killed early Sunday morning were held this morning at BJCC Funeral Services. Funeral service for the Birmingham police supervisor who was killed early Sunday morning was held this morning. Sergeant Watasha Carter was shot and killed while responding to a possible car burglary on 5th Avenue North around 2 a.m. January 13th. Another officer was critically injured during the incident. Funeral services for Sergeant Carter were held at BJCC's Legacy Arena and were open to the public this morning. The funeral began at 11 a.m. Prior to the funeral, a police procession guided Sergeant Carter from the area of the funeral home in Trussville to the BJCC. It's now time for a first look at our forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey. What's it looking like out there, Jacob?
Hey Riley, we have had a little bit of snow in some spots out there. A little bit of a light accumulation on elevated surfaces has popped up. Not seeing too much in the sky cam, and I think our window of opportunity is winding down here. Some of that light moisture that's in place now moving off to the east. Dry air seems to be winning out. Still though, won't rule out a few accumulation flakes here. We see some of those flakes in Senatobia as well as in Corinth, just a little bit on top of the truck there. Others reports coming in from Fulton and really all across the area of seeing those flakes. That continues through tonight for another couple of hours. Gusty winds also will continue, gusts up to 40 miles an hour. I've got the full forecast coming up in just a bit.
Thanks, Jacob. The outside of schools, courthouses, and other government buildings could change if one state lawmaker gets his way. The man behind 2 controversial proposals says he's trying to move Mississippi in the right direction, but as WCBI's Jason Hibbs shows us, plenty of people disagree.
Confederate emblem inside our state flag is a real issue.
Democratic State Representative Kabir Kareem says the stars and bars don't belong with the stars and stripes.
The flag always symbolizes some of the worst of Mississippi.
He introduced this bill, which would prohibit the display of the flag at or on any building or other property owned or leased by the state until the design is changed and the Confederate battle flag is removed. He also wants to separate MLK Day and the Robert E. Lee holiday. Some people say both proposals are problematic.
It ain't like race or nothing like that. It's our history. Like, we need to leave the flags the way they are.
And leave the Robert E. Lee holiday alone, too.
He's just as important as Martin Luther King.
Leave it the same. I don't see where it's hurting nobody. Don't hurt me. Martin Luther King don't hurt me. He was a great man. But so was Robert E. Lee.
But others aren't so sure.
I have a daughter that is biracial. As young as she is, that symbol still carries negative connotations. And yet, that symbol is a source of pride for another group of people.
I spoke to just as many black Mississippians about these bills, and nearly all of them agree with the representative. But none of them wanted to be a part of this story or go on camera. In Columbus, Jason Hibbs, WCBI News.
Both bills are still in committee. Kareem says he hopes people contact the representatives to make their voices heard. By the way, Alabama is the only other state celebrating Robert E. Lee and Martin Luther King on the same day. A local woman is hoping to help people deal with loss. We have more on her story coming up after the break. If you've ever lost a child or parent, you know the pain of one local woman. She's written a book to help others cope with her struggle. Our Cash Matlock has a story.
When he died, something happened to me, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to get up. But I came back and out of depression, and I came back new and much better than I was before.
Linda Lane battled depression for 7 years after her son Benjamin Daniel Lane died in a car accident. She says writing her new book, Healed My Journey, is what got her through.
This book was a part of the healing process. As I began to write, I began to heal from the inside myself. So it was very beautiful for me.
Lane says the book helped her ask God important questions like how she was going to get past such a tragedy.
I answered those questions, asked the questions, and he answered them. And so it was just, revealed to me that I should let other people know how I handle situations, and that would help them also.
Friends of the author say they are shocked by the contents of the book.
She writes from a very unique perspective in that she feels pain, or she felt pain, and she was able to write that pain on pages, and she's able now to help others through the pain that she experienced in her past life. So she writes from a very good perspective.
And overall, those behind the book say the goal is to help others who may be experiencing loss.
I hope that they can get beyond the grief, and there's so many people who are affected by grief in losing a child, losing a loved one, a brother, a sister, and so this book is another way to look at getting counseling, getting help, overcoming all of those hard obstacles that we face in life.
They don't have to stay depressed, that God can move them out of the depression, out of the place that they're in, away from the hurt and the pain, and you get to think that this is it. But God can bring happiness and joy even out of death, and I learned that.
The book Healed My Journey is available at lindarayleylane.com today. Later next week, it will be available for purchase on Amazon. For more information, you can visit our website at WCBI.com. A Tupelo restaurant is hosting an event that will help make wishes come true for children battling critical illnesses. Mugshots Grill and Bar will host a celebrity wait night for Make-A-Wish Mid-South this coming Tuesday evening. The event features celebrity waiters shadowing Mugshot Grill and Bar wait staff. 10% of sales, 100% of all tips, and a silent auction will all go to the Make-A-Wish and help children in Northeast Mississippi get their wishes granted.
North Mississippi, Mississippi in general certainly, but North Mississippi is known for giving back, and that's what this is about. It is a heritage that we got when we moved here, and it's certainly one that we're passing on to our children. But this particular organization, Make-A-Wish, is all about taking kids who have and grant to them life-changing wishes.
I was lucky enough to grant a wish to one of the children last year, and it was very heartfelt. The child was very, very excited to go to Walt Disney World, and she and her whole family, including her brother and sister, got to go.
WCBI's own Allie Martin will be one of the many celebrity waiters taking part. Make-A-Wish Mid-South will grant more than 280 wishes this year. The celebrity wait night goes from 5 until 9 Tuesday.
It is time for our Saturday night check-in on our 155th stationed overseas in Kuwait. Temperatures for them looking fairly mild, lots of sunshine for them. Here locally at home, we've got cold air that is here to stay for a little while. Coming up after the break, we'll talk when these flakes will end tonight, when the cold air will last, and when we might get some more rain in the forecast. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
It's been a fun evening to keep track of the snowflakes falling across the area. We've been watching folks send in viewer pictures and reports, and we've even been watching the Skycam sing a little bit earlier. Right now, overall looking drier. Things are trending on the drier, winning out, turning into less in the amount of flakes and more into a clearing sky. Here's all that heavy rain that's pushed off to the east that brought us those severe thunders. We were dealing with tornado warnings this morning and then some snowflakes this evening, a bit of a wild day. Thankfully, the worst of the damage was out of our area, but Wetumpka, Alabama, town of about 7,000 people, took a direct hit from a significant tornado. This is what it looked like earlier this afternoon there, and they are still recovering and doing search and rescue there. Locally here then, look at some of the snowflakes that we've got in Grenada. Check out some of these big flakes that we got from Lori Riddle. She was near I-55 there on the west side of town. A lot of snowflakes there, a lot of viewer pictures like that, and even just a little bit of wintry mix made it to accumulation on some elevated surfaces. This is what Diane Logue's porch looked like in Fulton. Overall, though, no impacts are expected throughout the night. Reason for that, temperatures are still in the mid-30s across the area. Since we're a little warm at the surface, any of that accumulation quickly will melt away, and most of it too is not surviving because of the strong winds. It's very windy out there. We're seeing sustained winds between 10 to 25 miles an hour through the night. Gusts will likely be as high as 40 in some spots because of the pressure gradient, that force that's in place. What's going on now is because of some of that high winds, we do have some power outages to report over here in Noxubee County as well as Winston County. A couple of outages there over by Grady near Eupora, and then even up to the north. Just the occasional tree is falling or things of that, nothing too significant. But if the power is out, it's because of that wind. A lot of moisture that was here earlier is out of the area. Still some very fine showers rolling on through, not seeing in the way of much. So still won't rule out a few flakes over the next couple of hours, but things are winding down and quieting. We're heading for a mostly sunny sky on the day Sunday, but keeping the breezy winds in place out of the north, looking very breezy as we go through the next 12 to 24 hours. 20 to 30 mile-an-hour winds through the night. By Sunday during the day, we carry them down just a little bit, but blustery and cold is the word of the day tonight. 29 in Columbus and in Pontotoc, 28 in Eupora. Very windy continuing. The same on Sunday. Look at that. We're only in the 30s across the area for many of us. One or two of us may get to 40, but the important thing to note is that those wind chill values are going to be well below that. It will feel only like the 20s and teens as we go forward. Quick check in the lunar eclipse. We're clear for Sunday evening. A great view of the total lunar eclipse, a really special event. Make sure you get outside to check that. I'll have more information on the website. As far as the next couple of days, quiet weather in place for a little bit. It is cold and blustery, but we'll be watching for our next chance of showers Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
A packed pavilion showing up and out to see if the ranked Rebels could get their 4th SEC win. Highlights from the game against Arkansas coming up next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb.
From start to finish, the matchup between Ole Miss and Arkansas was owned exclusively by the Rebels. Number 18 Ole Miss, the last time they played a game, they took an L, but today they're trying to bounce back against the Razorbacks. Terrence Davis shows them how to end the first half here, buries a 3. The Rebels would be leading 46-35 going into halftime. And now it's time for the second half. Arkansas attempting to answer on back. Isaiah Joe would do it by hitting the shot from deep to get the Razorbacks within 10 points. But Terrence Davis, the man ain't scared because he's got the two-hand and the jam. Davis and dunks become 2 in the same. Brian Tyree here, not being slowed down by an injury. He's going to get the ball and race from behind the arc to pull up and knock down the shot. The Rebels go on to get the win in front of a sellout crowd this afternoon with a final of 84-67. The number 24 Bulldogs on the road tonight and looking for another SEC win. Not a bad way to start things off. Eric Holman for corner three, the first points on the board tonight for Mississippi State, and that juice would stay flowing. This time it's going to be Peters from behind the arc. He drains the shot and caps off a 10 unanswered run for Mississippi State. And when the Dogs get hot from three, well, they're on fire. Another three-point basket, and that time it was from Tyson Carter to make it 16-4. Vanderbilt would look for some momentum of their own. Joe Toy works his way inside, gets the dunk, and it would keep the doors within the game. But not for too long. Peters out in transition. Carter with the dunk of his own to lead by 11. And Eric Holman, with ice in his veins, misses the three, but gets inside for a jam. And then at the buzzer, Peters lobbing this one up, and it goes in for the flush down the drain. It would be ruled just past the buzzer, but an incredible end for the Bulldogs going into the second half. And Mississippi State would survive Super Saturday for its for another conference dub, 71-55. Saturday hoops at the W. The Lady Owls search for a W themselves versus Morris College. Tazika Hinkson finds Keon Bailey with Euro steps to the basket for the finish. The Lady Owls lead by 11. Then on the fast break, no one stops ball, so Autumn Taylor goes to the rim and gets fouled and scores. And then later in the fourth, Hinkson catches the ball on the wing, head fakes and drives up for the lay-in. The Lady Owls go on to get the win, a final score of 79-62. Now let's see if the men can get in on some of that winning action against Morris College. The first half, Trey Pinkston breaks the press and finds TJ Clark for the foul and one. The Owls would take an early lead later on. Another Owls fast break. Sophomore Sean Wright puts up the floater and hits it. The Owls would be trailing by 1 point, and then still in the first half, Austin Taylor passes to Pinkston, who throws the alley-oop to Wright, making it a tied ball game. But the Owls unable to stay on, and this one would be a close game. The final score, Morris gets the win over NUW, 81-78. Well, plenty of college action, but also plenty of high school basketball action as well. I've got highlights and scores coming up for you from the Mid-Mississippi Challenge. Next in sports, stick with us. Some Mid-Mississippi Challenge action in Ackerman. The home team, Lady Chargers, taking on East Webster. The Lady Wolverines start fast. Mariah Bell jumps into the passing lane, goes coast to coast for an easy bucket. East Webster would be up after one. Choctaw County not going anywhere. Raquela Graham with the steal gets to the bucket, plus the foul. The Lady Chargers would be down by one going into the break. And then in the fourth quarter, things heating up. Whitney Winter in transition drives, kicks to Jaden Johnson in the short corner, gets the jumper to go. The Wolverines would be leading by 6. But the home team makes a late charge. On the break, Amelia Pratt finds LaJenis Johnson, gets the mid-range shot to go. The Chargers would be down by 1. East Webster doubles, but the Chargers break it, finds Graham on the wing for 3. The shot's going to be good. Choctaw County rallies in the fourth to win it with a final of 47-45. The boys up next now. East Webster taking on the Louisville Wildcats. The Wolverines D showing up. Karen Townsend with the rip. Takes it all on his own. Earns 3 the hard way. East Webster getting up early. But the Wildcats would come in hot in transition. DeQuavius Braggs finds Dre Shoemaker for the triple shot. And right before the halftime horn, Culberson kicks it out to Braggs from the parking lot. Nothing but nylon. Louisville would lead by as much as 10. And East Webster rallying back. Kevon Patterson beats the defense, finishes with the floater inside the paint. The Wolverines would be up by 2. Every run, let me tell you, was answered by Braggs. Takes it right to the teeth of the defense and then grabs the foul but sinks the free throw. Louisville doesn't look back. The Wildcats escape with the win 57-55. Time for a 2A versus 4A matchup. Louisville taking on defending three-time state champ Ingomar. Garrett Best Self gets the Lady Falcons rolling a smooth drive-in floater for 2 points. And then on the inbound pass, Lauren Thompson from downtown Ackerman takes all 3 of those points. Ingomar would be leading early, but Louisville fighters, they battle back. Cameron Rogers with the steal finishes the shot in transition. Ingomar, though, they would widen the gap. Swings to the corner. Thompson again tickles the twine. Ingomar goes up by as much as 10, but Louisville not ready to give up yet. They'd make one last rally. Ariana Hunter to Rogers. The three-pointer makes it a 1-point game, but Ingomar made the plays at the end that counted. The Lady Falcons edge Louisville out and get the win 40-38. Well, some more final scores from you from the Mid-Mississippi Challenge. A correction here, Pearl actually got the win over Pontotoc, 58-49. I know I said it incorrectly at the 6 o'clock, so if you watched it, there was the change. The Pearl girls get the win over Pontotoc, 58-49. Puckett gets the win over Boonville girls with a final of 51-46. And then the Starkville boys, I can't believe the score is real because games like that should pretty much be illegal, with a final of 87-25. I think I saw somewhere that Starkville went on a 20-point unanswered run. Unbelievable, people. The Starkville boys completely on another level, it seems, this season, but a great win for them as well. That's going to be it for sports. We're going to be back with your last look coming up after the break. Stick with us.
And blustery overnight tonight. Temperatures dropping into the upper 20s. It's going to feel like the teens in the morning, though. Sunday, it says 39. Going to feel more like 20 to 25 for most of the day. We'll warm up a little bit Monday, but more showers on the way Tuesday, Wednesday, and on Thursday.
Well, I definitely don't want to be going outside right now. I definitely want to stay in and stay warm.
I forgot my jacket.
We hope everyone has a great day.